Hey everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Snapchat. I'm joined today by none other than Cozy Snap. Cozy, you and I had the Snapchat Battle of the Ages on the release date of Arishem. And I gotta tell you, man, that was some of the most fun I've ever had playing Marvel Snap. Our match had pretty much everything in it. It had ego, it had the ups, the downs, the tears, the fist pumps of victory. My man, Arishem brought fun back to Marvel Snap.
Dude, the amount of emotes between me and you, and it just felt like playing a friend, and I don't get to do that much in Snap, right? Like, sadly, I'm doing so much, like, just random battles and whatnot. So, like, playing someone you know, and then, like, again, utilizing that, like, I had to channel my inner Canadian. I was like, all right, if I was Alex, what would I be doing here? Oh, he got my leader. I bet you put, like, it's so fun, like, just like that, I think it elevates the mind battles a little bit more because you know the person and some of their play tendencies and or just personality. And my favorite part of this week, by a long shot, is that I got to play Agent Coulson all week, dude. Like, just that, I don't think I could be happier.
That Pixel Coulson was showing its face very often in the world of Marvel Snap as Cozy played nothing but Arishem all week, dude.
Yes.
Honestly, everyone played nothing but Arishem all week. We may as well get right into it. Arishem has been the card since, I don't know, when was the last time? I don't think there is a card in Marvel Snap's history that reached like a 70-something% meta share on its release. That is absolutely insane. Even Red Hulk at its peak was like 33%. And that was like, because it was broken ass, like fantastic. Arishem was running like in the 70 percentile range. Literally everyone was playing Arishem. It was crazy this past week.
It's an absolute home run hit of a card. I think there's ways to counter it. Tons of fun to be had while playing it. I think fine balance wise. I think that obviously, like, anytime you have everybody, when you have 75% of a player base playing one thing, it can come off as like a little crazy. My comments on my videos were all over the place. Either, this card sucks, I lost so many games with it in a row, or like, my gosh, this is the best card ever hit Snap. We did know one thing last week. He was gonna be fun as all hell. I think I gave him a 4-star. You gave him a 3-star competitive wise.
Yeah, so we both 5-starred it from a fun standpoint. Like, you got to get the card because it's such a unique experience for Snap. I did give it a 3 competitive wise. You gave it a 4. It is running a 52% win rate across Infinite, which is all fantastic. And again, the meta share is absolutely astronomical. So, I think it's probably going to come in around 3.5, honestly, in terms of competitiveness. I think it has competitive legs, but it will low roll at times.
I think it's a 4, just because I think I said it last week that the stats to me didn't matter as much on him, just
100%.
because there is a very wide gap of skill level with what you do with random cards, what your opponent's doing. But having that extra energy is massive. It's huge. Being able to roll into some of the later turns or some of the play lines that you get to do is just pure chaos. I don't know about you, and the math checked out, obviously, but the amount of times you get to draw your own cards felt so cool. And, bro, I don't think I've ever seen a hyper boost to a card like he did to Blob in some time. Like, this made Blob from, like, meta irrelevant to, like, essential into a lot of the deck plays, dude. Really fun and different way to play the game.
It completely changes the way you play Snap. Completely. And I think so I'll have to ask you, I think my favorite way to play him was those very tech specialist decks where like your deck was often like the Shang-Chi, the Enchantress, the Red Guardian, the pieces you need to kind of solve the equation that your opponent might be throwing at you. They're asking questions, you've got the answers in your deck while you're kind of doing the best you can with the Arishem stuff. Maybe you got a Loki in there for that little bit of, kind of switch up if you have nothing but garbage. But I think that Arishem was an absolute blast. And I'd like to ask you, what were some of the standout cards for you that really you thought worked really well with Arishem?
Yeah, I want to take a moment and say I'm proud of us. I think last week in the Snapchat, we identified every kind of way that Arishem was going to be played, and it all kind of turned out. We said tech cards, we said cube surprise cards. All those ended up in the main builds. We started with card generation and Loki. That was the first conversation that I brought up. Dude, it's so funny when it's like putting Arishem in Loki decks. That's such a bad way to look at it. It's Loki going into the Arishem deck, right? And being able to just nope out of that turn, play him early, fill up the cards early. I loved the idea of the card generation working. So obviously, Agent Coulson was way up there on my list, and I enjoyed even just getting the Cable out right away. Maybe even the Valentina, White Queen. Those cards were a lot of fun. In general, though, bro, I think the big cube game twisting cards like the Legion, like the Blink, like the Leech we talked about, those were huge staples in the deck.
Legion was an absolute massive winner for me. Like, my experience with Legion was so unbelievably good. Getting him out on turn 4, oh my gosh. The surprise factor of Legion was insane. I love that shout out. Another good 5-cost card that I think really saw a resurgence this week was Sersi. I think Sersi felt like a really solid option in these decks, because sometimes you're just playing cards out to get them out, and like you know, you're not getting the best kind of return on them. Sersi gives you a second shot at the randomness. You're throwing the dice on the dice that's been thrown type thing, right? And sometimes you roll snake eyes, and that's what Sersi does, right? But sometimes you actually definitely nail it. I got a shout out for a card that I had a lot of success with, which I've not really seen in many other decks, and I want to make the statement for like Moon Girl. I think Moon Girl was pretty good here because that extra energy, I felt like I was often in top deck mode, and Moon Girl gave me a chance to replicate my hand to keep the kind of the game flowing. Give me a chance to have, like, I got all this extra energy, and I didn't have enough of a draw. I didn't have enough going. Moon Girl often remedied that, and I treated it like a tech card. Sometimes Shang-Chi, you don't need it at that time. Moon Girl, sometimes you just don't need it at that time. But I thought it was a very interesting piece to the puzzle. I'd be interested in hearing some of your standouts as well.
And I like the Moon Girl call out because I actually revitalized a small, a bit of Rocks and Hawks back in the day. Darkhawk obviously being a big counter to the card. A lot of people were playing Darkhawk in the Airship deck so that they could have a counter to the other ones out there. And I'm like, oh man, this takes me back. Now it's much different looking because Darkhawk has changed completely. But I like having the Agent Coulson back in there, having Quinjet, who we were on the fence about. Obviously, pure, just a great card to have in Airship. And then, yes, Moon Girl, dare I say, Devil Dinosaur. You always had this like really big hand that you could do. I would have Mystique in there as well. It was a little wonky with the draw mechanics. I don't recommend the deck fully, but I loved the idea of kind of going back to those roots, if you will. So High Evo did great for me as well. But the core, what I try to keep doing with this card is just randomness. Random BS go. Card generation and or the Arishem cards that were in the deck.
The one thing with the High Evo is I think it's strange that the draw order of High Evo and the way it's placed in the actual that shouldn't be a thing. No. Just give any card generated by Arishem, just give them the High Evo. I don't know what code has to happen in the background. Those type of interactions are ridiculous. I don't think that should be happening. But I mean, it is the way it is now. That's fine. That's something they can tackle down the road. High Evo wasn't like the highest order synergy with Arishem anyways, but that's like a quality of life thing that probably should get fixed at some point because it was a little awkward. Sometimes the cards are evolved, sometimes they're not based on the original shuffle of the deck. Like, come on, man. What are we doing?
Yeah, I played good points behind that. To capitalize on a couple other cards I was playing with and that were different is I did some Shuri builds. I thought was a lot of fun. Just anytime getting a double power card out is fine on turn 3 and forward. Also, bro, I have the video out. It came out Sunday, I believe. Hobgoblin and Galactus as just 2 random cards. Loved that. I loved playing a Hobgoblin on 4 without Ravonna. And then you have this kind of like, okay, nothing else worked. I'm going to Galactus. I'm going to go that route instead. Just provided fun. I won an Infinity Conquest. I got a border for this guy, for his avatar with that deck. And it was just like a jolly good time, if you will. But yeah, I've seen people say he might be too strong, which Second Dinner has not stated. They said that they've talked about what they would do if he's too strong, but they don't see it as that right now. They said that they can see the possibility of adding more cards that he shuffles into the deck, making your cards that you put in a little less likely. Do you think he's too good or just too popular at the moment?
I think you just wait it out. Give it a couple weeks. Wait till Gwenpool comes out.
Cassandra.
Let the interest fade. Like, don't wait. Like, let Cassandra come out. Like, I don't think Arishem needs to be touched up right now. I mean, listen, if you're upset about Arishem, literally, you just play Darkhawk based decks and you completely stomp these decks. Like, it's so unfair. Like, literally, I'm talking, running a 90-something% win rate against Arishem with Darkhawk based decks. Because even if they have Darkhawk themselves, your Darkhawk is like 40 powered and theirs is 7 because you're not playing an Arishem deck. So it's like, it's so lopsided. I don't think it's a problem. Wait till it's just the flavor of the week right now. Come on. How could you not play Arishem? Everyone wants to. Let it wait out. It'll play itself out.
I think it's so funny that so many people got this card, right? Like many people got this card, and then Cassandra's a free card. So like you have this direct counter to a card that everybody has. It'll die down more a month from now. But it was comical to me to look at it that way. But yeah, overall, I think he was a great week, and I haven't seen the Snap community like this in some time.
Absolutely, and that's gonna take us to our next card. Let's talk about the season pass card, Gilgamesh. Now, it's very notable that Gilgamesh did see a significant buff. It did get buffed to a 5/9 alongside Gilgamesh. It's notable, but Shauna got buffed as well to a 3/4, and the two have been kind of tied at the hip in some of these Zoo style decks for a while now. So I don't think that they're completely independent from one another. But our original evaluation of Gilgamesh, you gave it a 3.5, I gave it a 4. We did have some hesitation about the range of its power, but we thought the floor was okay. At the end of the day, it seemed like it just didn't quite have enough power. However, post buff, I think this is a great card. I think it's phenomenal. I think it absolutely slams down power. And if anything, the important thing about Gilgamesh, the key thing, is it made another archetype playable. It made Zoo legitimately playable. And the more archetypes that are competitive in Snap, the less repetition we experience as players.
We already saw this month, Gwynpool is going to give him another synergy. He's a card that will continue to evolve because obviously boosting power is something that's going to never go away in Snap, which is always healthy for a card, right? Like, there's some that don't often get to continue to get these small, kind of like mini OTAs to it with new card releases, and Gilgamesh gets that. He's not my favorite card, I'll say that. Like, I just don't play him a ton. He's very, like, not one-dimensional, but you have that one game plan going on. Sometimes RG can screw you. But, yeah, he's good, man. I still have him, 3.54. That's somewhere in there, kind of our original rankings on him. Glad they boosted him up. He definitely needed it. Because he was a bit lackluster at first. But yeah, strong card.
Yeah, he's running a 52% win rate at 9% of the meta. So, I mean, his win rate is comparable to that of something like an Arishem, which people are kind of like, up in arms about right now. But ultimately, his play rate's significantly lower. But again, that's because Zoo is approximately that. He's in every single Zoo deck right now. And I think that's important. You had a season pass card that, I mean, for us, like, we're collection complete. We make content for the game. Gilgamesh is less exciting. But for someone who's in like early pool 3, who plays Zoo decks unironically because that's the best deck that they can build currently, this was a huge addition to their power output. The only thing lacking from those decks, which people would kind of be remiss over, was like the Mockingbird is often a core component of those decks. So that's kind of the expensive component. But ultimately, I think Gilgamesh, it met a need. People wanted a season pass card that they could plug and play into many different decks, and it accomplished exactly that. So, yep. So coming in approximately at 4 stars for Cozy and I, and I think that's pretty damn solid. The next card to come out, I think this was the surprise. Not necessarily the surprise. It's so funny. I listened back to our conversation about Thena, and we were like, this is probably the card of the month, but also we had some reservations about it. Cozy, the primary reservation we had was that it's not going to feel good in anything other than Kitty Pryde. We said this is a Kitty Pryde card and it's not going to work anywhere else. So we actually took points off of it because it felt like it was niched directly into Kitty Pryde. But little did we realize, I mean, we did realize it, but little did we kind of mention that, like, this is such a good Kitty Pryde card, like such an insane Kitty Pryde card, that it rose completely. You and I were at 4 stars. We kind of hovered around 3.5, 4 stars. But I think we kind of got to 3.5, 4. 53% win rate, 13% of the meta. Cozy, what do you think about Thena?
Yeah, I remember this was almost my 5, and then I was like, I kind of, backed out of that. It's not quite like Sentry getting boosted from a Nihilist good, like, to what she did for that archetype, but she made that archetype just so much better and more reliable. You're not only waiting on the Angela. Thena is so cool that she retroactively, you could put her in like a storm lane and build her up. Like, there's just so many like interesting case scenarios for the card. Arishem's a great example. I would get her generated and be like, great, like, awesome. I'll definitely mess with Thena and make her work. Oftentimes not like weird to play or awkward to play. Definitely, if you look at the month as a whole outside of Arishem, which it was a fun month, she's obviously the winner outside of, probably the winner competitive wise, right? And just as a whole. And yeah, really good card, that's for sure.
Yeah, she's definitely the winner competitive. I think she's a 5-star competitive card. I would say we miss low. I would say this is probably the 5-star card of the month for sure. I don't think there's ever, in its current form, there's never going to be a Kitty Pryde deck that doesn't have Thena in it. You'll never have the ideal Kitty Pryde deck without Thena.
She was so good that Angela had to get nerfed like ASAP. Like that I mean, if that doesn't speak to anything, what does, right? Anytime we saw Gilgamesh get buffed, and they didn't want to obviously nerf Thena, which they can't really with her kit too much. And Angela's the one that ended up taking the blow. And guess what? Still a good deck.
Oh, yeah. Angela's still good. Actually, low-key, someone played Shadow King on my Angela, and I still won. because it only dropped her down
That
to
base
3.
power. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so a little bit of that like plot armor a little bit, but I do think that Thena is truly remarkable. Definitely the winner of the month. And if I could go back in time, Cozy, we should have given her the 5. We should have given her the 5. And it's a lesson learned. Like, we were concerned about everywhere else, but sometimes I think the lesson here is that sometimes a card really only needs that one really good deck, that place where it really, really shines. It doesn't have to go everywhere like Hope Summers did. Thena's not everywhere like Hope Summers did, but where it is legitimately a carry. Like, it carries the gameplay for that deck.
Agreed. Solely agreed. Sersi was next, yeah?
Sersi was next. 11% of the meta, a 51% win rate. We both came in at 3. 3 stars, Cozy. What are your thoughts on Sersi?
Oh, man. Yeah, 3 is about... It's funny. I think on release, people thought she was not as great because there's just so much random chaos going on. Like, it was just nuts. So, but we're kind of seeing her fit into more and more builds, and she's aging better than we thought. I think 3.5 is fair for the ranking. Maybe the randomness can still be tough, but I love what we highlighted, what we liked about her in the first place, and that's just like the get out of jail on something that happened. Arishem, perfect card synergy, kind of works in that Legion spot, that Blink Legion, have one game-changing card a bit in there. Obviously a bit more random, but yeah, I like her.
This is one of those situations where, like, I don't care how good the card is. I just don't like it. Like, is that crazy for me to say that I just don't like the card? Like, I don't like playing Sersi. Like, I want to have that level of control in my plays. I want to be able to calculate what's going to happen. And while I can appreciate, I took the Sentry Void and I flipped it into a 5 cost. That's cool. But, like, at the same time, it's like, I'd rather just Annihilus it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way I see it. I'd rather know I'm going to Annihilus it. Where it works is when you're in Conquest and they know you're going to Annihilus that Sentry's Void, and so they stack that right location, which, I mean, is an element of control, and then you Sersi it instead of just having it explode into oblivion, right? That's where you get that positive value. But, like, for me, it's just I personally don't like the card, but I respect it's the role it plays in a number of different decks.
Yeah, when I want to have fun, I'll play it. When I want to play more competitive and have fun, I play Pixie. Like, that would be my assumption on her.
Yeah, so it's the lowest. Actually, it's not. It's the second lowest win rate card on this list, but still at 51%. It's definitely still positive, and that takes us to the lowest ranked card of the month, and that's Makkari.
Oh yeah, Makkari.
Okay, you want to talk Phastos?
Yeah, I would Phastos. That's right. Yeah, okay. Talk about Makkari here.
Come on, Makkari's worse than Phastos is, I think.
I don't know, man. I just, like, I don't know. People hate that I hate Phastos. I just hate him. I just think he's just such a wonky card. I've grown on Makkari since we ranked her originally, for sure.
I haven't.
It's not like I've grown exponentially. What did we give her?
You were ruthless. You gave her a 1.5.
Yeah, which is why I said I've grown on her.
Yeah, so I went at 2. So if you grew into a 2, then we're probably at the same spot.
Yeah, it's fair. It'll be interesting to see how she works with Gwenpool synergy, but yeah, she's. Although I liked her in Arishem, it was cool. I'm like, oh, cool, free play. But yeah, she's 2.
But even with Gwenpool, you have to draw her on the turn 4.
No, my point is, though, if you with Gwenpool, you would put her as like an American Chavez role. Like, you would have her wanting to play herself, so you had a smaller hand to get more dedicated cards powered up.
Oh, I see. You want the smaller hand because I was like, if you want to hit her to a 3/6, then like. Yeah. Come on, man. That's still like that's the Nakia effect we talked about. But I totally see what you're saying now. Reduce the hand size so that then you can guarantee the hits on Gwenpool on that Black Panther or whatever it is you're going for. Exactly. I hear you. Oh, and even there though, Makkari should get hit by Okoye, should get hit by Nakia. So maybe Makkari's better days are ahead of her.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, only 3% of the meta, so everyone just was like, "No, I'm saving for Arishem." No one bought this card, but. And we even said it at the time. It was running a 52.5% win rate when we reviewed it a couple of weeks back, which we were kind of surprised with. It ended up falling to 53. It ends up landing a 53% win rate, which on this list is tied to Thena. And we are 5-star on Thena, so maybe this card has something going for it. It's the kind of card that maybe in the future, as more synergies start to show themselves, as we're talking about with Gwenpool, maybe it starts to find its spot. But even then, it's a 12-card deck, man. This is it's going to have a hard time competing, I think.
And again, stats, I just got to say, it's like, I'm not as crazy on stats representing everything because Thena, God knows how many Thena games were played to get that win rate. The sample size is exponentially more than Makkari. Makkari's in a Surfer deck. Surfer's just a good deck. And so like that was my hesitation there, right? I think the reason her win rate was so low the week she came out is we were trying to play her outside of Surfer, and we saw what happened. She went below a 50% win rate. Yeah. So that's kind of, I think Thena, I would dare say 10x, maybe 20x games that Makkari was played in.
Well, it has to be 100x. Like, I don't think,
right? That's what I
mean, at 3% of the meta, it's almost nothing. And I think the only deck I saw it kind of being played in was like a Sandman style deck. Oh, okay. Which even then, it's like, it wasn't that impactful. It just wasn't, right? So Makkari might have better days ahead, but if you've skipped Makkari, I don't think you're sweating it. Just like if you skip Phastos, maybe you're not sweating either. But listen, I got to tell you, so we were actually very different on Phastos.
Here it comes.
Very different on Phastos. Now, I'm not going to cope. I'm going to admit, Cozy, you were right on this one. I came in at 4 stars. 4. That's high. That's high, Cozy. You came in at 2.5. It's definitely not a 4-star card. So I'll give you the floor.
Oh, yeah, man. I feel like I've trashed on him so much lately. Like I want to give him a break almost. Yeah.
I'm giving you a chance to trash on me, buddy. Come on.
No, dude. Hey, listen, man. No, listen, okay? Yeah, I respect you. You're the host. I've had bad takes. We've had bad takes. It's all fine. 4 is a little crazy. But, you know, man, it was one of those cards we had to see just play out. And, yeah, we played him out, and then I never played him again. I will say, Arishem Phastos on 2 was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think this card is unplayable. I think it's going to have its time. It's kind of weird, and I think they can kind of create some, like we talked about how like Nova gets discounted, and you can multiple hit like something with a -1 cost, so it's a 0, and it just keeps getting hit with that. I think it can be brushed up a little bit to make it better, but like honestly, I think I'm okay with this card being what it is. Like, I don't know if I would change too much on it. I think it's one of those cards that, like, it might not have its place right now, but it might find its place eventually. And I don't know if I'm coping. It's definitely not a 4. I'm with you. It's probably definitely a 2.5. I mean, its win rate's 50%. And it's running 10% of the meta. So people are actually playing it right now. It made a couple of the Zoo decks. It's being played in a few Arishem decks, but it's still running a 50% win rate. So, like, it's seeing games, and it's not winning. So the proof is in the pudding, as they like to say. Cozy, you won this round of we are very different on our rankings.
The real winners are the ones that didn't pull them, and that didn't use spotlight keys. I think are the real winners here. But yeah, he's gonna sit nice and cozy in my collection, just hanging out, just hanging.
Just him and Watu just chilling.
Him and Angel, they're gonna have a little little cafeteria. They're gonna be at the losers table for sure.
And the funniest thing is, I'm gonna call out a comment on the last episode of the Snapchat from Eldas that read, "Calling it now, Phastos will get a buff, and everyone will get mad because we skipped them." Top voted comment on the Snapchat.
Oh man, yeah. Even if they make him a 3-4 though, it's like, all right. And then we talked about Arishem. Yeah, we talked about our love for this guy already, huh?
Yeah, we did. And at the end of the day, Arishem an absolute beauty. So this is the time, Cozy. We rank them 1 to 5. I'm gonna give you the floor, Cozy, and I'll give you mine afterwards.
1 to 5. So is this we're going competitive or cards that we like? It's it's kind of, this one's a different season at that, right? It's kind of tougher.
Let's do competitive. Let's do competitive.
Yeah, cool. So number 1 to 5. So 1 is Thena, no question. I think we can
got it. Yep.
Confidently say that. Number 2, I'm gonna give the edge to. I'm definitely gonna go with Arishem at number 2, and number 3 would be Gilgamesh.
I would go Gilgamesh here.
Okay.
I would go Gilgamesh, but okay.
Yep. I'm gonna go 2 Arishem. 3 is gonna be Gilgamesh, and then I think we
would go Arishem 3.
Okay, and then oh man,
I would go Phastos Makkari.
Oh man, I don't like either of them. I'm gonna go Phastos Makkari. That's fine.
I like Phastos more than I like Makkari, even though I think Makkari statistically is doing better. But I just I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean? I just don't care, man. I just would rather have Phastos over Makkari.
I think that's fair. I think I would agree.
We talked about some smack about a couple cards we didn't like, but let's talk about our favorite cards of this past season. Now, Cozy, I love doing this because it's a nice retrospect. Now, these aren't necessarily the best cards of the season. These aren't necessarily the best cards in Marvel Snap. These are our personal favorites at every single cost. The cards that we played the most, the cards that we kind of just had the most fun with. And Cozy, we're starting at number 1. I'm going to give you a chance to lead us off because I got a couple that I can't wait to talk about.
I feel like if I were going to pick the one over here, I don't know how I don't pick Quinjet just because it came back. Like I haven't played Quinjet in so long, and I feel like with Arishem and having the Quinjet, I've not dabbled with Loki too much either in a while. So just like having all that combined, and I probably played more with just Arishem than I did like everything else combined, just play hours wise. Quinjet's my one, easy, no question.
Yeah, you know what? I saw a lot of matches like when I'm like, I have a rogue in my hand, they have a Quinjet on the board. I'm like, I gotta take it out. Like, I gotta take this Quinjet out. Like, it's a problem. If they Loki, I'm screwed. Just with Arishem, I'm screwed anyway. Like, I gotta get rid of this Quinjet. So a very nice call. And this might not be a sexy pick, but I gotta tell you, man, this was the month I fell back in love with Kitty Pryde. Like, there was a point in time where Kitty Pryde was just kind of dead in the water. It took the Angela buff, Thena coming out, but Kitty Pryde is back in full swing there, and she felt really good. And the thing I really like about Kitty Pryde is the change they made. She's gaining +1 power, so sometimes she's a 1-4 or 1-5, whatever it happens to be. But I love that power is spread across your board. It's the bishops getting the power. It's the Thenas. It's the Angelas. So it's not just the 1+ power she's getting back. She's actually coming back, and it's like, oh, Thena got power, Angela got power, Kitty Pryde got power. It's like it's spread in a way which I think is really fun. It's a really engaging card. And this might be crazy to say, and I know that you guys are like, Alex, again, but I had this moment where I was like, I wish it was the original one still, where you had like you can pull it back. I know I keep bringing it up, but the original Kitty Pryde was just so much fun. Second dinner, if you guys could ever figure out how to do that again, if you could ever figure out the code, the tech, or whatever has to be done so that you can pull her back on command, I don't care if this has to be a 1-1, it's just bring her back. Bring her back, but it was nice to have Kitty Pryde back this month.
You want to hear my secret sauce? And I think if I say it here, we're gonna see it. I think we're gonna see it. I think we're gonna have some listeners that might cope it. I'm claiming my stake here of a cozy. I never do this too, but I was like, I feel great about this one. Remember when the Taskmaster Kitty Pryde deck was pretty damn good, pretty damn popular?
Like the Shuri Kitty one?
Yes, I think that returns with Gwynpool. Because I think that the way that thing flows out and the way that you can build up Kitty Pryde is going to be exponentially better. You play her on 4, okay, all good and dandy. You still have that Kitty Pryde. You play Shuri and Kitty Pryde on 5. That's going to be 5 energy. 6, you play her and Taskmaster.
Okay.
That's my call.
I actually can see that working. It's a bit of a different line, but I can see it working for sure because it compensates for the fact that in the past when that deck was popular, she was gaining +2, right?
Yep.
So you're going to make up for that with Gwenpool. I like that. Okay, Cozy's cooking already. Look at that.
I think it could work. That's going to be the first thing I test out. That's for sure.
All right. We go to our 2 costs. And I don't want to steal it, but I want to say that I think we just talked about Thena. Thena was obviously an absolutely immaculate card this month. So, I mean, huge shout out to Thena. It's not going to make my favorite because obviously it was just a pure power play. But this is the month of Shadow King, in my opinion.
Okay.
And listen, I feel like we bring up Shadow King all the time. But like literally, especially with the original Angela, like you could be like, oh, Thena's getting popping off, Angela's popping off, Venom's popping off. There was so many targets for Shadow King. This is a card that I feel like everyone cuts from their decks. And when I add it, they're like, oh, let's just cut Shadow King. Add some greedy ass BS that like, whatever. Add the greediest card possible. Shadow King is an absolute game winner. And there's no question about it. This card absolutely slaps. And if Thena's a problem, this card solves it. It's really that simple. I've really liked Shadow King this month, and I feel like this card is probably one of the most disrespected in Snap.
Yeah, we typically go like fun, cheeky picks. I think 2 costs, we could just go with great cards. Shadow King, beautiful pick. I'm going to go with Ravonna. I think play her while you can. I don't know how long this iteration of her is going to last. I think she is left over from the Zabu days. So strong. We've seen it now over and over. Her potential's through the roof. Another card, Cassandra's coming out with immediate synergy with her. Like, it just, and what do you want to do with Cassandra? Play her as early as possible. So, like, and now she's a 3, she's a 2. It's not going to work out like that. But it goes to show that there's continuing cards. Now, I think it's tough, though, that when you play Ravonna, you need to know that it's got that Cerebro effect of, like, Angela, just like that, is gone out of Ravonna's build, right? We've seen Darkhawk. We've seen cards leave the build in Ravonna. But player, just enjoy her because I don't know how long this Ravonna will last. It maybe it does, but just a tremendous card.
I'm calling it now. Ravonna gets changed to a 2-1. The best deck in Marvel Snap turns into a Ravonna Moon Girl deck where you play Ravonna and then Ravonna again cheap.
The Ravonna play, yeah, or activate. Yeah. If they go activate with Zabu, maybe they retrospect that to her.
It's true. And I want to give a special shout out to Cable too. This month, it was so much Cable play, and I just love that card. It's disruption, it's information, it's fun. So I know you love me picking multiple.
You're turning into me. Yeah. You're picking like 10 cards each guy. No, it's great. I only need one for 3, buddy. I only need one. Listen. I'd give Agent Coulson 4, 5, and 6 a slot too if I could. Okay, this is it. This is my card. This is my favorite card in the game. I love this man. I do. I love him. Sue me. I just think it's so fun to see what he can pull out. 4 and 5s are just continually good cards, so you're not mad about what you get. He feels fun. He feels great. He feels surprising. He has great dress wear. He's a man of culture. Agent Coulson.
I need his pixel variant. I'm looking for his pixel avatar. It hasn't come up yet. I need to buy it. It's absolutely beautiful. Agent Coulson's truly remarkable, and I'm glad it made a massive comeback with Arishem. And again, you talked about it prior. We absolutely called it. Like, I'm going to say you absolutely called it. I was on the Nick Fury side, which actually Nick Fury wasn't bad, man. Nick Fury did see some play. Yeah. But Coulson was definitely the winner of the Arishem Olympics there, and he's been definitely pulling his weight. This is going to be a little lazy. I'm going to have to say, okay, I'm just going to do a special shout out. He's like, special shout out to Silver Surfer, because that is like my personal, like, oh, I'm just chilling around. I'm playing a Marvel Snap for funsies, and I just play Silver Surfer. That's what I do. I just love it. It's the deck I go to anytime I'm playing for fun. But the actual card I had the most fun with, legit fun with, was Wolfsbane and Sage. And I'm putting them together because I was playing a lot of Ravona. And I know somehow I managed to talk about 4 3-drops. But they're like the same card, man, kind of. But like, I want to say that Sage and Wolfsbane are truly fantastic. Okay, just put up Wolfsbane or Sage, it's fine, one of them. But okay, let's talk about Sage for a second. This card is like often like 12 power. This card is so damn good. And if you don't have Sage, you can put Wolfsbane in your deck, but Wolfsbane has that lower ceiling, but still Ravona synergistic. You can sneak it out for a cheaper cost. But really, these 3 cards, I'm selling myself out already for saying too many at the 3-drop. I just finished saying I played Silver Surfer almost all month. Okay, give me a little bit of a break at the 3 cost. Okay, but yeah, these cards are great. Sage is awesome, and I do think that Wolfsbane could see a buff, but if you buff her, then maybe she breaks Ravona, which is where she's playing best. So like, you probably just leave her for now. But I think Sage's stat lines are absolutely ridiculous. You get a 3/6 Sage, and you're like, oh, that kind of sucks. Where you at, Sage? Like, you get spoiled by how much power she puts.
She is tremendous card. Good, crazy good card.
All right. Do you have any 3-drops that I didn't get a chance to mention?
We got it. 75% covered there. So I'll leave the other 25%. I'll head us into 4. 4 was tougher this month. I felt like for me. I think there's a couple contenders here. Fury was fun to pull. Play Fury again was cool. I'm going to go Captain Marvel. I think it was cool just to play Captain Marvel again, and I played her a bit more than I did in the past. And just a card like she was in every deck when she got boosted to this potential, and then we took her, she went down and everyone hated her again. But I think Captain Marvel is still a very good card in the game.
It's funny because when we actually played our 1v1 on Twitch with Arishem, I actually was playing a Captain Marvel Arishem deck where I had Professor X, and I was trying to like lock down locations with Pro X on turn 4 while using Vision and Captain Marvel to sneak in after with the move. I actually thought it was pretty cool. I'm still working out the design. Okay, patent pending on that one. I think that it's a slept on Arishem deck right now, but I like Cap. I've always loved Cap. And this has been always one of my favorite cards. In terms of a card design, like the text, it's probably my favorite designed card in the game. I absolutely love it. And I wish I had more of a reason to play more often. I just make it a 4/6 again. Come on. It didn't break the game that bad. Make it a 4/6 again. What are we doing? 4/5. It's not enough. Come on now. And okay, my call out. Okay, competitively, I want to say Loki's great, but there is one card that made its way tech-wise that the Cozy's just in shambles now. But give me a second. Give me a second because it's worth it. Super Scroll,
hey baby,
especially this past week, has been so good for me, man. And this is a card that nobody gets. He's at the bottom, Cozy. Scroll down. He was there right at the bottom on the left. Come on, buddy. You can do it. There you go.
I'm just glad
I
you're
don't know how
here.
you sort your cards, dude. You sort them by like upgradability or something?
I sort them by no way, because this collection system's so trash right now. It's such an embarrassment. It's so glitchy, bro. It's ridiculous. Do you feel that way? I do, at least.
Buddy, when I try to build decks and I'm like trying to sort the numbers and I click like the 3 and it stays highlighted and then like I'm like, what is happening?
There's a new bug every single week that and it compounds with the last one. So you're just like trying to do this like, it's like when someone's like, hey, let me, turn on the AC and the guy like hits the top of it, slaps it and does like, and they're like, you okay? And like, yeah, it's going to work. Just let me do this, right? Like, it's hilarious that's how I feel like deck building's become on this game. Like, let me mess with the 50 things to get the thing. Anyway.
And when you click the sort, it resets every single time you go to a different deck.
You betcha. I'm glad that you're finally on Super Scroll because you have been, I've been mocked a lot for liking this card by you, good sir. And
I know.
And
dude, I'm the one who spent 6K. Like Shuri comes out, She-Hulk comes out, Galactus comes out, Thanos comes out. Idiot over here, idiot number 1, is like, I'm going to spend all my tokens on Super Scroll. This card's got to be broken. Good call, Alex, you jackass. But like, listen, this week, how good has he been in Arishem decks? Because everyone's playing Darkhawk. There's Darkhawks everywhere.
Dude, everyone was playing. It's so funny. People were like trying to do Rogue and Enchantress. This was just the better answer because you could copy the Quinjet. You could copy any of the random ongoings they had and the Darkhawk, 100%. And I didn't mention this. Destroy was a really good, it put up a good fight against Arishem a ton. It was just a good stat, hard to beat. Hey, I'll take the null for free all day.
Yeah. Oh, buddy, I rogued a couple nulls and people were in shambles.
Oh, it's so fun.
It is. But like Super Scroll was a cool catch-all. I even had a game where someone else played Super Scroll against me. I was like, whoa, no one's playing Super Scroll except me and this guy. And sure enough, it was a weird game. I'm like, hey, wait, the Super Scrolls don't count each other, which I thought was kind of funny. Because you don't often see those interactions, right? But I actually think Super Scroll low-key a great winner. And if you're playing Arishem right now and you're like, I'm not winning is up, just add Super Scroll in your deck and watch the win rate go up. Seriously, I'm not even joking. 5 costs, Cozy. I'll give you the floor.
5 costs. Lots to pick from here. I think you kind of mentioned it earlier. I gotta go Legion. I think Legion. I've always enjoyed playing Legion, but even more so, I love being able to play Legion early and being able to have the triple locations. It's just so much fun. Alex was so close to having this immaculate Legion play against me in our matchup, and I forgot how I got away with it. But you did I think 3 quantum tunnels, something like that.
Yeah.
And I ended up, I forgot how I got out of that situation, but just a great card. Good cube stealer. My fave.
You know what else is a stealer? You, because you stole my 5. I was going to talk about Legion too. Yeah, with Arishem and the extra energy, Legion's been so damn good. I think cards that have really high impact board-wide effects that people are used to seeing later in the game that catch them by surprise on turn 4 are wild. I want to give a special shout out. Now, I know people are like, Alex, really? But Darkhawk, obviously huge in the meta right now. And even before, it was a good card. But again, Darkhawk, I think, is just fantastic. And even when the Arishem kind of excitement dies down, I think Darkhawk's still in a pretty good spot. And I think that maybe we're sleeping on him a bit. Maybe Korg can get a buff. Do we buff Korg? Does Korg go to 1-3?
No. I think it's good. I think dude, the adding the rock in there is already good enough. I think they'll also be good in the Cassandra builds, like you've mentioned. I think it's in a solid. I think Cassandra Darkhawk could definitely be a thing.
Yeah, but I've always liked Darkhawk. One of my most split cards. I love it. I even bought the 3 times value Darkhawk. I loved it so much. I hated my wallet that much. That's the amount of wallet hate. It was exactly equal to the amount of Darkhawk love. That's what happened there. As we move towards 6 costs, Cozy, and I'll give you the floor.
No, you take it for who do you got? Let's not say Arishem because he's a 7. So what's your 6?
Okay, so this one's kind of a hot take, and I think people are going to roast me in the comments, but I'm going to go with it. My favorite 6 costs to play this month was Thanos. I played a lot of Thanos, and I think that Second Dinner's doing a good job trying to find his identity again. They're making small but impactful adjustments to these stones, to the way he's being played. He's not there yet, but I think they have a plan to get him there. And these incremental improvements, the modifications to the stone, get him out of the left side of the hand, please. All those small things, I think will make a huge difference. I think this card is slowly going to make its comeback. It's sitting a bit of a timeout right now. But me, myself, playing Thanos, I felt like I was playing a proper deck again, and I appreciated that.
Okay. Yeah, I respect it. For me, I probably am going to go with She-Hulk. I feel like that's probably my most said over the course of the series. She-Hulk and Sasquatch just fit so much of the way I like to play the game. And it might even lean more Sasquatch this time around, but they're very much intertwined in the same. I love the idea of having not the best draw, so then instead you float. she was awesome with Arishem because you could play her down on like turn 3. I mean, just there's a lot of fun uses to play with her in general, and this is my kind of solid catch-all pick as always is the Miss She-Hulk.
And that, Cozy, takes us to the Snapchat mailbag, where you can basically ask us questions, and we'll dig through the comments to see what we want to talk about in the next version of the Snapchat. So if you have something you'd like to say, let us know down below. Our first question for the Snapchat mailbag comes in from Zest Wispa, and it reads, do you think the Guardians cards will get reworked anytime in the near future? I'd love to see them get unique abilities, even if they keep having to guess a location. For example, Drax can destroy a card. Groot can put a 0/0 Baby Groot on the opponent's side. Mantis can sleep a card to stop it from revealing for a turn.
Yeah, that was I think whenever they Star-Lord got his buff, I was like, I think they all need one unique thing about it. Yeah, what if this would break everybody's brain because of how they've been played. What if you get the bonus if you played at the location that they didn't play? So you have 2 out of 3 instead of 1 out of 3. I don't know. Might be a little bit better. Hold on.
It's actually a really interesting take. I like the idea of like, oh, Groot puts a junk card in there. Drax destroys someone, or like has the Juggernaut effect. Or I think that's pretty cool, and that's a good idea too. Making it like, oh, maybe it doesn't quite work. They'd have to be different because Drax playing into a location they didn't play, then knocking someone doesn't make sense. But I like where your head's at. I think that like instead of just giving them plus power, giving them like this small little bonus ability, I think would be pretty cool. I like that. I like the call out a lot. And Guardians, I mean, they're so much of a part of the MCU. We'd like to see them get proper love and Snap.
Yeah.
And that takes us to our next question from Kudu. Are there any cards you know in your heart are bad, but you insist on playing them anyway? Maybe you have a variant that you really like, you think the card is fun, or you just really like the character. For me, and this is the person who wrote the question, I can't imagine playing this card without Angel in my deck.
Oh my God.
I know, eh? That's why I had to qualify that. I was saying that was their words, not mine.
Yeah, right, dude. All the cards that I play, like half the cards I play are probably in that mold. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm very much Arnim Zola, very much, I think Pix is a good card, but people would say otherwise. Sersi, you don't like Sersi, but I do. That, like, those style of cards, man, the chaotic stuff, sign me up.
I mean, I took Kang to the finals of Twitch Rivals.
Right.
That's got to count for something.
Yeah, Kang is definitely up there as just like an enjoying card overall. Yeah, I think that's like kind of what we love, yeah.
Yeah, and my guilty pleasure, I think, is Baron Zemo right now. I have so much fun playing Baron Zemo. I like those mill-style decks, even though they perform like middle of the pack 50s, like 53, 54%, where it's like, it's not where you want to be if you're looking to rank up. I really like Zemo. Like, I think they're fun. I like destroying things with Yondu, even though it's not great. I like stealing things with Cable. I just like the gameplay, even though it's not performing as well as it could have. So for me, I think the cope pick here would be Zemo, because even though I want to say Uatu doesn't actually make any decks. But that takes us to our next question from Michael. Since Patriot and High Evo have slipped in the meta, do you think they will release another no-text card?
I think they said they have no plans to, but that was all the way a year ago. So like it could have drastically changed since then. I'd like to see another 5 or another 6, for sure. I think both of those could definitely have merit. Probably 5 outside of A-Bomb, but also it's just awkward because like they're always medium stats, so there's not a lot you can do there. But then maybe you understat it, but it's known to just be that much better in High Evo or Patriot, right? Like maybe it just has direct concentrated. It's like the Thena to Kitty Pryde decks. Like it's just meant for those decks, but it pops off.
You're right. Like, there's no way they could release that card as like, hey, look, guys, it's a vanilla 2/3, and like people are like, I can't wait to spend my spotlight keys on it. It has to be a High Evo card. That's the only way it could possibly make sense.
And
right?
They can't do like a 5/10, and then it's like, okay, well, what the hell is A-Bomb at this point, right? So like, you understat it, give it a better ability.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chezarine said, I cannot believe neither of you mentioned Baldur's Gate 3 as the only video game you could play for the rest of your life.
It's just not. Yeah, it's a good game though. Definitely a good game. I mean, that.
Did you actually play it? I've only put like an hour.
I dabbled. Yeah, I mean that and Elden Ring are just great games. But I didn't have that.
I'm not a D&D guy, and I wish I was. I want to be. Maybe we play some D&D at some point, Cozy. But like, I couldn't understand. I'm like, what the hell these numbers mean? Like, I didn't understand how the attack damage was. Because instead of saying like this will do 10 damage, it's like 4x. I'm like, what is this stuff? I was like, what are these Vegas odds to do damage? Like, I don't understand. I know the comment section's losing its mind right now.
Probably.
I do apologize. I'm kind of playing a little funny here. Like, I know more than that, but not much.
I put them all in the same bubble as I would play it if I wasn't doing what I'm doing as my job. I just don't have time. There's no way I could play. I could get away. There's no way I could be in here in my studio making content all day, and then I'm like, hey, wife, I'm going to put another 7 hours into a game.
I know, man.
No way.
That's me too. The only thing that I get to do every once in a while is like while I'm laying in bed, I'll play like Diablo 4 because it's very much pick up and play. I run around the Helltide for a few minutes and whatever. And our last question is coming in from Jers Leggins. It's not even a question. It's just a statement. Oh no. I always thought of the Miss Marvel emote in friendly terms. Didn't think I'd be giving people the finger this whole time.
This world is too cruel for the sweet soul that he is.
I know. You're such a good person. You didn't even know that giving the thumbs up was actually just, that's okay. We've all been there. And if you feel good when they Miss Marvel thumbs up you, then, God bless, man. God bless. But thank you so much for watching, guys. We truly appreciate you guys. Leave a review on the podcast platform of your choice. Coach and I would both appreciate it. And we'll see you on that next Snapchat episode.